What's the big deal about brisket anyways?
Hey guys, Rick here. I wanted to make a short video just to outline how we break down a whole cooked brisket on a carving station. We're going to start showing you guys how we do some of this stuff. And I don't think that anything that I say is absolute or final. It's just my opinion. Okay, hopefully the audio is going to work well enough that we can just roll this, but this is a whole brisket. Tall side is the point, shorter side is the flat. That's because those are actually two different muscles. They overlap each other. We're going to show you what that means. For carving brisket, we like to use a knife like this or something thereabouts. This is a 10 1/4 inch wavy edge slicer from Victorinox. This has a wood handle. They make them with plastic handles. Just to give you a comparison, you can see that not all serrated knives are really the same. And you can see how this has a much finer tooth. It's not as pointy, and it's going to cut the meat, especially the bark that's kind of tough on the outside, without ripping it. So this is the knife of choice. What we're going to do is just basically walk through what a brisket consists of, and when you order brisket, what you get. So our first cut is going to come right down the middle, where we're going to split the point from the flat. And basically this is the division where we start talking about the lean, which is this guy. You can see that the flat is much leaner meat. And this is the moist or fatty brisket. You can tell just by the jiggle of it that it's made up of a little bit different muscle. So we usually turn this one and we'll take the first slice, and that could be burn ends if you wanted to label it as such. So this brisket, as you can see, is where we start getting into that, get a better angle here. The brisket that we start getting into that good fatty brisket, moist brisket, is on the point cut. So just to demonstrate, this is a slice of fatty brisket. You can see that it's made up from a couple of different muscles. This is the upper muscle. I've heard it called a decal. It's the point, and you can see it's very highly marbled. This is the flat, which is the lower of the two muscle, longer and leaner. This fat in between is something that we try in our cooking process to render, and you can see it's pretty well rendered, although not gone. There's definitely a lot of liquefied fat that's actually basting the brisket as we slice it, and that's what makes that a really nice, juicy bite of brisket. So getting back to the two halves of the brisket, the lean half of the brisket, which is the flat, that's where we start to take our slices. So if you order lean, you're going to get a slice from this half of the brisket. That does not necessarily mean that there is no point, no fat, or no bark on it. It's just a majority of the flat, which is the leaner of the two muscles, okay? So this would be a slice of lean. Now you can see that it does have a good amount of fat. People that don't enjoy that, we don't really defat the brisket. That's as lean as a cut as we're going to see there. Now, on the point side, the fattier brisket, when you see that slice, you're going to see all of the fat inside the marbling of the meat, and you're going to see that also that fat layer between the two muscles as well. So this is a point cut or fatty or moist brisket slice. Okay, we're going to talk about chopped beef, and something that we like to do is use the parts of the brisket that aren't really the best slices to make the chopped, but we like to use all parts of the brisket. So this is the flat. You can see we've been carving our slices there. The tip of the flat is something that definitely we like to go into the chopped beef with it. So we'll put that side there. And then the other end of the point, once we're cutting to a certain area, you can see that it starts to get really heavily marbled with fat, and we don't really want to serve out a slice that has such a large amount of fat on it. So oftentimes this end of the point we will remove a small piece of fat from, and this is actually the lean muscle underneath, and this is the moist fatty muscle on top. We'll actually make our chopped out of the two combined, and anything that we have that has bark on it or a lot of exterior, that's going to make our chop look and taste delicious. It's the most well-seasoned, smoky, and flavorful part of the brisket. And also you'll see when we start to break it, that dark bark on the outside really makes the chopped brisket pop visually. This is a bench knife. This is a very nice bench knife from Maiden. My friends gifted me that. I'd like to see everybody have one of these in their toolkit because we use this to chop beef, but it's also great for prep, for keeping your station clean, and just for, you know, a lot of everyday kitchen tasks. This is a great tool to have. So this is a nice slice of moist. You can see that it's more highly marbled and has a more pronounced fat content. It's a little bit of a thicker slice. Then you have the slice of lean. This is a little bit of a drier slice of brisket, but it still has a little bit of the bark, the fat, and a touch of that point muscle from the top. So even the lean does have its fat. And then this is our chopped beef that we've done with our bench knife, combining the trim from both halves of the brisket to make our chopped beef for sandwiches.